Hi guys, welcome to DMT. Thanks for tuning in. This is a 5,000 mile review of this bike, the BMW R1250 GS TE edition. So if you're interested in some facts about an owner's review, then stick around and watch the rest of the video. So guys, I've had the bike 5 or 6 months since May last year. Came back into the market looking for an adventure bike. After scouring the market, it all came back to the GS, as the GS sets the benchmark for the top selling bike in its category, in the adventure category. I was a bit apprehensive as a biggish heavy bike. I'm 5'8", 8.5, and getting on the bike it was on my tiptoes, but you gradually get to tilt it just to one side so you put your foot flat on the floor. And I would say over time I've just become more and more comfortable riding this bike. I'm astonished as to how this bike rides off-road and on-road. I've done a little bit of off-roading in the Spanish mountains in November last year, and in roads in Greece in the summer of last year. That's a little bit of off-road I did, and I was with a tour guide in Spain, and I was amazed as to how this bike handles. You just put it into enduro mode on the ride settings and it just sets it all up automatically. You can adjust it to your own personal settings if you want to, but I just put it into enduro mode, and then off I went on the gravel, through the streams, over rocks. I'm a bit of a novice off-roading, to be honest. The first time I've ever done it, and considering it's a big and heavy bike, I was amazed as to how it handled, and it just sucked up all the gravel and all the rocks, and it was just so comfortable to ride as well. And likewise on the road, I could sit on this seat all day and not have any issues with backache or anything like that. I could fidget around in my settee at home and I get more fidgety, but on this seat it's just, along with the riding position, it's just perfect. This is the TE version. I'll go through some of the elements that it has as opposed to the standard edition. But I found this a really good bike, and it is the benchmark in the industry. Other manufacturers are looking at this bike to try and copy or beat. The Tiger Triumph is using the statistics on this bike, and they've implemented them to try and match or beat the GS, because they know that this is the top selling adventure bike in its category. So the other manufacturers are catching up. So it'll be interesting to see what the next edition GS is going to be. Some talk of it being a 1300, but we'll see what comes out in future. So the bike has 136 brake horsepower at 7,750 revs per minute. It can go to 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds in the top speed of 125 miles an hour. It's got a fuel tank of 20 litres, and it's given 50 miles per gallon on average, with highway and city riding combined. Obviously that may fluctuate. So the GS is an adventure bike. I've done a little bit of off-roading in Spain, in South Spain, in the mountains, on the Toro Adventure. That was 2 days on a guided tour and 1 day by myself. The 2 days were on and off-road, so it was the first time I'd done a little bit of off-roading, and it was fantastic how this bike, I mean it is a heavy bike, but you just set the driving mode to enduro and the bike electronically sets up all the suspension, etc., to cope with the off-road terrain, and it was just unbelievable how this bike performs off-road. And then in comparison, when we went onto the roads in the afternoon, put it into dynamic mode, and likewise it was just behaving like a sports bike on the road. And I was thinking, hold on a minute, just like a couple of hours ago we were going through rocks and gravel and stuff like that, and then a couple of hours later we're leaning into the twisties on these twisty mountain sections with camber, going quite quick, you know, and really enjoying it. And it was like a sports bike. There was a guy on in my group, he had an R1 back in the UK, and he was leading it so much, the GS, that he was catching the outside of his foot on the tarmac, and he had to say to himself, hold on a minute, I'm not on my R1, I'm on a GS. But that just gives an insight as to how this bike can, how you can lean the bike and how it can perform, and how much enjoyment you can have from riding it on the road as well as off-road. The handling of the bike, I think, has something to do with the setup of the suspension, how this GS is set up. The back power lever, it's a single swing arm, and it's a monoshock front telelever suspension. It's got the quick shifter gears, so same technology that the motorbikes have. So it's a quick shift gear, no clutch required. You can just go up through the gears, saving time using the clutch. The curb weight, including fluids, is 549 pounds or 249 kilograms. So this is the TE version, but if you buy the standard edition, then the things that you'll get on the standard is centre stand and side stand, adjustable windscreen, the BMW Motorrad multimedia controller, the BMW connected app to the TFT, which gives you your route planning, display on your phone, also connects to your music, your phone, your media and your sat nav. The standard edition also comes with ride modes, rain and road. It's got LED headlight, multifunction brake light and indicators, automatic stability control, hill start control, ABS, USB socket and a power socket. So the TE, this is the TE version, and it comes with all the bells and whistles, and it's got the riding modes of Dynamic, Dynamic Pro, Enduro, Enduro Pro, HSC Pro and DBC. It also comes with the pannier fastenings, left and right, and hand guards. The Headlight Pro, including adaptive headlight and daytime running light, cruising lights and multifunction indicators. Also comes with cruise control, the heated grips and the tyre pressure control. Also the chrome header pipe and the chrome exhaust, and dynamic traction control. And it's shaft driven, so there's no messing around with linkages in gears or oil in the gears or anything like that. So there's no maintenance as such there. Now I had some additional extras on this bike, on the TE, which just bumped the price up even more. I had the anti-theft alarm, which is £187 extra, the engine protection bars, which is 250, the intelligent emergency call system, which is 254, LED additional fog lights, they were quite expensive, £308, the seat heating, which is £191, and the 3-piece Vario luggage system, that was £1,083. With the extras I had on top, it was extra 2,273, and there's a 20% goods value tax of 3,170, and the vehicle tax 150, brought it to a grand total of 19,172. So it's not a cheap bike. What a fantastic bike. So guys, the BMW R1250 GS TE edition, my 3 criticisms are that it could do something a little bit more with the exhaust to make it sound a bit better. The price obviously is very expensive for this bike, and with all the additional extras, they do vary the price. And the third thing, it could have a little bit more torque. It's okay, don't get me wrong, 3.4 seconds 0 to 60, but it could do with a little bit more torque. So the GS is just an awesome on-off-road adventure bike, performing very well on and off road. In either terrain, it's just fantastic. It's capable of taking you to faraway places without any due stress. It's just so comfortable to ride, and it won't give you any problems. It'll just eat up mile after mile. Let me know in the comments anything about the video. Love to hear what your thoughts are on the GS if you're going to get one, whether this video has helped. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it if you can subscribe, and it will support the channel.